The Spectro Rover is one of the most underrated characters in the game, mostly because the Havoc variant of the Rover is better. However, the Spectro Rover has its own perks and is better depending on the situation. This video is a complete guide for the Spectro Rover and covers everything you need to know about him. Without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Rover got some special heavy attacks. If you were to read his skills, it would be very confusing, but it is actually very simple. All you have to know is the heavy attack aftertune. It is very important and needs to be used in the Rover's combos to fill his 4-day circuit bar. To execute this heavy attack, all you have to do is perform a heavy attack followed by 2 basic attacks, or doing a basic attack after a dodge counter also performs this heavy attack. There's one more way to perform this heavy attack where you do 3 basic attacks, then long press the basic attack button and tap the button again. You will mostly be using the previous 2 methods as this method can be difficult. Rover's resonance skill deals some spectro damage and has a low cooldown of 6 seconds. This skill gets enhanced by his 4-day circuit. Rover gains his 4-day circuit stacks with every normal attack hit or by casting his intro skill. He gets the most stacks with his heavy attack aftertune and the intro skill. It instantly fills his 4-day bar by half. Rover can hold up to 100 4-day stacks. Using his resonance skill will consume 50 stacks and deal increased damage. Doing a basic attack after the special resonance skill will unleash a 2-stage attack that does some nice damage. It is considered as resonance skill damage. This 2-stage attack is further enhanced by his first inherent skill. It increases its damage by 60%. And the second inherent skill increases Rover's attack by 15% for 5 seconds on casting heavy attack resonance. Rover's ultimate skill is a nuke that deals very high damage. It has a low energy cost of 125 and a cooldown of 20 seconds. His outrow skill generates an area of stasis around the next character you switch into for 3 seconds. This area slows down the enemy, which can be very useful. For his talent priority, prioritize leveling his 4-day circuit and resonance liberation, followed by basic attacks, then the resonance skill and intro skill. The normal resonance skill is mostly not used, so you can skip it. Moving on to his sequences. Rover's sequences are very useful for a free upgrade. The first sequence increases Rover's crit rate by 15% for 7 seconds when using his resonance skill. This is great as it makes building him easier. It helps you focus on other stats. The second sequence increases his spectro damage by 20%. The third sequence increases Rover's energy regen by 20%. This is a very useful sequence as it fulfills his energy requirements. The fourth sequence gives a bit of sustainability to the whole team. After using Rover's liberation, he heals the entire team's HP equal to 20% of his attack by 5 seconds. This lets him use the rejuvenating glow set if no one in the team is using it to buff your main DPS. His sequence 5 increases his liberation damage by 40%. The sixth sequence reduces the target's spectro damage resistance by 10% for 20 seconds when any of his resonance skill hits. The wordings of the description of this sequence has created a huge misconception, where people think that you need to hit the enemy with his normal resonance skill as well as the 4-day circuit's resonance skill to get the spectro resistance shred, but I have tested it and can confirm that hitting the enemy with any of the skill works. The resistance shred doesn't stack. You will only get a 10% shred, which is not bad. Moving on to his weapons. The best weapon for Rover to maximize his damage is the Blazing Brilliance. This weapon gives crit damage, unconditional attack percent buff, and a stackable resonance skill damage bonus, which can stack up to 56%. However, if you have the 5-star standard banner weapon, Emerald of Genesis, you don't need a pull for this weapon. It provides crit rate, energy regen, and attack percent. For 4-star options, the best one is the Commando of Conviction. If you are unable to get an intro on Rover, then this weapon's performance gets worse. Other great weapon options are the Lunar Cutter, Looming Gloss, or the Sword 18. R5 Sword of Night is a 3-star option that you can use as a placeholder. Moving on to his echoes. If you are using the Rover purely for his Spectro Resistance Shred or the Outrow buff, you can use the Moonlit Cloud set with the Impermanence Heron skill to buff the damage of your main on-field DPS. If you are using the Rover in a quick swap team, where you are constantly switching in and out of him, to use his 4-day circuit's resonance skill and ultimate skill on cooldown, The best set to use would be the 5-piece Celestial Light. And for the Echo skill, use the Jue Echo skill. If you compare this Echo skill with the Morning Aches, the buff from the Morning Aches is better as it buffs all of the Rover's damage, whereas the Jue skill only buffs Resonance skill damage. But the Jue skill is much easier to use as it doesn't have any animation, and deals a good chunk of damage. If you have farmed a Morning Aches Echo with exceptional stats, it can be a better option. If you are using the Morning Aches skill, make sure to swap cancel it to reduce the Rover's field time. Alternatively, you can mix and use the Celestial Light with the Lingering Tune set. He could also be the Rejuvenating Glow set with Bellborn Echo skill holder due to his sequence 4. For his Echo stats: crit rate or damage on the 4-cost Echo, double Spectro damage on the 3-cost Echo, or a combination of 1 Spectro damage and 1 attack percent is only around 1% behind, and attack percent on the 1-cost Echoes. Moving on to his energy requirements, you would want to get around 20% energy regen on the Rover, but his sequence 3 gives him enough energy regen. This lets you focus on other offensive stats. For his Echo substats, prioritize getting crit stats, followed by attack percent, flat attack, resonance skill damage bonus, and resonance liberation damage bonus. 1 or 2 energy regen rolls can be nice too. Moving on to his team comps. Spectro Rover is more suited as a hybrid DPS as his rotations are short, and he doesn't have skills to do sustained on-field damage. He can provide a good combination of damage and utility through his sequences and outrow skill. You usually pair him with a secondary DPS. His 6th sequence makes him a great pair with Spectro DPS characters. However, the only Spectro DPS we have is Jinzi, but she prefers character that can deal coordinated hits like Yuanwu. You can pair any main DPS with him as his outrow skill has a very good utility, letting you comfortably do your combos. A character who has short rotations or a quick swappy playstyle is ideal for him as you can swap into him when his resonance skill is ready to quickly use it and swap him out. Encore, Yinlin, Changli are some characters that fit in that role. And the last slot could be any sustained character like Verena, Baiji, or Jinchen. The Rover could also fill in the sustained slot with the Rejuvenating set, as he can provide some healing which could be enough if you are good at dodging. You could build a team like Jinsi, Yuanwu, and Rover as the flex slot. This frees up your Verena, and Jinsi could benefit from Spectro Resistance Shred. Verena is a better option, but since the Tower of Adversity has limited usage, the Spectro Rover could also be used. Moving on to his rotations. His rotations are quite simple. While preparing the support's outrow, switch into the Rover to use the heavy attack aftertune, followed by his resonance skill and a basic attack. Then switch back to your support. Intro into the Rover, use a heavy attack aftertune again to get the attack increase from his inherent skill. If the boss is too aggressive, you can skip the heavy attack. Then use his resonance skill and a basic attack, followed by his liberation. Then outrow to your main DPS. If for some reasons you need to intro directly to your main DPS after your support, make sure to use a heavy attack aftertune before using his resonance skill during the second switch to get the 4-day stacks. If the rotations allow, you can keep switching back to him after 6 seconds to use his heavy attack aftertune, resonance skill, and a basic attack, then swap him out. Make sure to use the Echo skill whenever necessary. If you are using an offensive skill like Jue or the Morning Aches, use it at the start of your combo. If you are using the Heron skill, use it before doing his outrow. The Spectro Rover can deal good damage while also providing some utility. He has short and fast rotations and we get him for free. His outrow can be helpful for completing your combos and for an easier and safe playstyle. However, since it is not a buffing skill, he falls behind other characters that can buff the main DPS. While his damage is good, he is not suited to be a main DPS. If you compare the Spectro variant with the Havoc one, the Havoc Rover is better as it can deal higher damage and has many quick swap windows unlike the Spectro Rover. Nevertheless, the Spectro Rover is quite fun and can be useful, so investing in him is not a terrible idea. And that's all for this video. I hope it was helpful. Don't forget to check out my other guides. Make sure to like and share the video and subscribe for more Wuthering Waves content. Thanks for watching.